They looked happy online. That's the part that hurts the most. Because if you only watched their Instagram, their TikToks, the filtered selfies and airport reunions, you would swear this was one of the rare success stories from 90 Day Fiancé. Smiles. Inside jokes. Hashtags about forever. Soft music playing over slow-motion kisses. But real life? Real life was quietly cracking underneath all of it. And TLC never really showed you that. You felt it, though. I know you did. That weird disconnect between what they posted and what we saw in certain scenes. The tension that lingered just a second too long. The smile that didn't quite reach the eyes. Social media showed love. Reality told another story.
Right, we're pulling back the part they didn't fully explain. Because here's what nobody says out loud. Sometimes the most convincing love stories online are the ones fighting the hardest battles off camera. You're not crazy for noticing. When they went live on Instagram acting playful after an episode where they barely made eye contact, it felt staged. When they posted romantic captions the same week rumors of cheating were swirling on Reddit, it felt defensive. Like they were trying to outrun something. If you're here, you probably sensed that too. And that's why this channel exists, for the parts that don't make the final edit. The moments between the scenes. The emotional math that doesn't add up on TV. If you like being on the side that looks deeper instead of just reacting to what TLC feeds us, stay close. Because this one gets uncomfortable. Let's rewind. When they first appeared on 90 Day Fiancé, it was electric. A long-distance romance. Cultural differences. Family doubts. The K1 visa ticking like a time bomb. It had all the ingredients. Viewers fell hard. Comment sections were flooded with, "They're my favorite couple," and, "You can tell their love is real." And in the beginning, maybe it was. Late night FaceTimes. Savings drained for flights. One partner leaving everything behind. Family, language, career, for a promise in America.
I've been
That
thinking
kind
about
of leap
us,
doesn't happen
what have you
without
been
emotion.
thinking?
that I'm
Without
excited for our
belief.
future.
But belief
too.
doesn't pay rent.
I love
And
this
this is
moment
where
with
the
you.
power shift
Me too,
began.
it's perfect.
One partner
love
held
you,
the
and
passport,
I love you too.
the house, the financial control. The other held hope. And that imbalance doesn't always show up in big dramatic fights. Sometimes it shows up in subtle corrections. In who interrupts who. In who apologizes first. In who looks nervous when money comes up. You probably remember that dinner scene. The one that felt awkward but not explosive. Where finances were discussed and one of them joked, "Well, it's my money anyway." Everyone laughed. But the other didn't. That was the first crack. On Instagram that week, though. Completely different energy. Cute couple challenge videos. Playful captions. Were stronger than ever. Stronger than what? Because behind the scenes, according to friends who later spoke out, arguments were becoming routine. Not the screaming kind. The cold kind. The kind where silence fills the apartment for hours. TikTok started noticing first. Small creators stitching clips, slowing down scenes, pointing out body language. Why does she flinch when he raises his voice? One video asked. It went viral. X lit up. Reddit threads exploded. Half the fans said, "Stop overanalyzing. They're fine." The other half said, "Something is off." And then came the mini reveal that most casual viewers missed. During one Instagram live, someone asked about wedding plans. There was a pause. A long one. You could see them glance at each other off screen. The answer was vague, deflective, taking it day by day. That's not what someone says when everything is solid. That's what someone says when they're buying time. But here's the part nobody was ready for. The pressure wasn't just romantic. It was financial. Brand deals were rolling in. Paid posts. Sponsored couples content. The more they sold the fairy tale, the more income they generated. Think about that. The relationship itself became a business model. So what happens when the love weakens, but the contracts don't? This is where everything quietly fell apart. Because staying together wasn't just emotional anymore. It was strategic. Followers noticed shifts. Fewer candid moments. More posed photos. Comments turned from, "You two are goals," to, "Are they forcing it?" And then one night, a Reddit user dropped a screenshot that changed everything. A private message allegedly from one of them, hinting they were not happy, but had to keep up appearances for now. The internet went feral. TikTok creators dissected timelines. YouTube commentators compiled clips of tense exchanges. Instagram comments flooded with accusations. Some fans felt betrayed. Others felt protective. "I knew it. Stop bullying them. They're clearly struggling." Divided. Completely divided. I know what you're thinking. Maybe it's just internet drama. Maybe couples go through phases. But listen to this. During filming of the tell-all, something happened that TLC barely aired. A heated off-camera argument. Sources later claimed it centered around trust and money. Not cheating exactly, but emotional boundaries crossed. Late-night DMs. Just friends. Conversations that felt too intimate. And that's when the narrative started to crumble. On stage, they held hands. Backstage, they reportedly wouldn't look at each other. Social media that week. Overcompensating. Romantic throwbacks. Old engagement clips reposted. Comments limited. The louder the love online, the quieter it felt in real life. But what happened next made everything before this look small, and almost nobody connected the dots. Right when
I'm so
fans
glad to be
assumed the
here to
biggest
share this
secret
with
was
you.
emotional
It's
distance,
such a wonderful
a deeper issue
opportunity.
surfaced.
I can't wait to dive
Immigration
in.
leverage. One partner's visa status was still tied to the marriage timeline. Leaving too soon would mean starting over. Possibly going home. Possibly losing everything built in the US. Now the stakes weren't just heartbreak. They were legal. And this changes everything. Because when someone feels trapped, financially or legally, love turns into survival. Conversations shift from, "Are we happy?" to, "Can we afford to separate?" Or worse, "What happens to me if we split?" This is the part TLC glossed over. They framed it as normal newlywed stress. But insiders hinted at something heavier. One friend claimed the relationship felt more like negotiation than romance by the end of filming. Who pays what? Who posts what? Who says what in interviews? Fans on X started noticing inconsistencies. Interview statements didn't match earlier episodes. Timeline gaps appeared. TikTok sleuths found deleted comments referencing counseling. But publicly, they were thriving. And if you've followed this channel for a while, you know we don't jump to conclusions. We connect patterns. That's different. Here's the twist that made even supportive fans pause. A sponsored Valentine's post went up. Expensive gifts, candlelit dinner, glowing caption about choosing each other every day. 3 days later, one of them was spotted alone at a hotel after a reported argument. The hotel detail was buried. Not mainstream, but the fandom found it. And that's when the illusion started cracking for good. Because now it wasn't just tension. It was separation. Soft at first, needing space, personal growth. But here's the part that hurts the most. They kept posting together anyway. Pre-recorded content, drafted captions, scheduled uploads. The brand machine kept running. So while fans argued in comment sections about whether they were real or fake, the truth was much more human, and much more fragile. They were unraveling slowly. This is where loyalty gets complicated. If you've been watching them from day one, it's hard to accept that what you rooted for might have been partly performance.
Me too.
But that
I love
doesn't
this
mean the
moment
love
with
was
you.
fake from the
Me too,
start.
it's perfect.
It
I
means
love
something
you.
changed.
I love
And
you
that's
too.
what we need to talk about. Because the final reveal, it didn't come from a dramatic breakup post. It slipped out quietly. During a podcast appearance months later, one of them admitted they felt alone for a long time in the relationship. That they were smiling for the camera while crying off camera. There it is. Social media showed love. Reality told another story. The sacrifice of moving countries. The financial imbalance. The pressure to monetize intimacy. The fear of losing visa security. The silent resentment building in small daily moments. None of that fits neatly into a 42-minute episode. And that's when the truth finally slipped out. They weren't villains. They weren't masterminds. They were two people caught between love and leverage. When the official breakup eventually came, it felt almost anticlimactic. No explosive cheating scandal. No screaming tell-all confession. Just a mutual statement about growing apart. But if you followed the breadcrumbs, you knew it wasn't sudden. It was erosion. And here's the devastating part. Some fans still don't believe it. They're convinced it's a publicity stunt. That a reunion is coming. That the love was too strong. Maybe. Or maybe what we saw online was a highlight reel masking a power imbalance that slowly drained the romance out of the room. Because here's a hard truth about reality TV couples, especially on shows like 90 Day Fiancé. When your relationship becomes content, it stops being just yours. Every argument risks becoming a storyline. Every reconciliation becomes a monetized post. And sometimes the pressure to look happy becomes heavier than the work of actually being happy. In the final weeks before they stopped posting together, one small detail said everything. The captions changed from "we" to "I." Tiny shift. Massive meaning. And that's the detail TLC never zoomed in on. They showed us dates, trips, reunions. They didn't show us the quiet resentment, the fear, the calculations. Social media showed love. Reality told another story. So here's the question that splits the fandom in half. Were they faking it for clout? Or were they two people desperately trying to hold onto something that was already slipping away, and using social media as a bandage? Because those are two very different narratives. And depending on which one you believe, you either feel betrayed, or you feel heartbroken for them. Drop your honest take. Not the safe one. The real one. And stay close. Because there are more stories from this franchise where the Instagram fairy tale doesn't match the off-camera reality, and some of those truths are even messier than this one. The surface story is easy. The real one, it's still unfolding. Thanks for watching this video and please subscribe Talent Zone Updates YouTube channel for more update news.